What is going on, Pats Nation? You guys already know who it is. Patriots Global back here with another video. And in today's video, we are going to be doing yet again another training camp recap over the last couple of days, unfortunately, with just different circumstances with traveling and this, that, and the third, some storms coming through where I'm at. We haven't been able to recap camp. Today's going to be recap of day 11. And let me tell you, the New England Patriots are clearly getting geared in, not just for the 2023 season that we will be starting in I want to say roughly a month, a little more than a month, just around that time span. So we are right around the corner from football being back. But even in just a couple of days, we have our first preseason game. And I cannot believe that I'm already saying that. And the Patriots are gearing up into getting ready for some real NFL football. So let's hop into day 11 here for the New England Patriots. Before we do, make sure that guys do leave a big like on this video. It costs you nothing, takes literally less than a second. Like boom, you could have just done it right now and would have been done with it. But guys, it really tremendously helps out the channel. I know that we have a lot of subscribers. Like the majority of this audience is subscribed, but about 40% to 30% is not subscribed. So if you are not subscribed, make sure you do and hit that bell notification once you are, so that you do get notified every time we post a new video. But you guys sharing the video, commenting, no matter what the comment is, I don't care what it is. If it's random, hate, love, no matter what it is, and liking the video really helps out the YouTube algorithm. But let's roll that Patriots Global intro, and let's talk about day 11 as I try to stall and find it. First, we're going to start with our general notes. Absent, Ty Montgomery still out. One thing that I do continue to kind of just have a thought in the back of my head about is, has Ty Montgomery been there and is taking mental reps? Or has he genuinely not been there? When I hear the word absent, I think you're not at practice, right? Like if you don't go to school one day, you're absent because you're not there. If you're in PE class, but you're not participating, do they write you down as absent? No, they don't. And unfortunately, this is something that I noticed when I went to training camp, because when I was at training camp, day 2, which I believe was day 8 overall, I saw Ty Montgomery on the field. I saw number 14 with my own eyes, and I tweeted out to you guys that he was at practice, and we would have to see what his limitations would be for the day. Ultimately, he doesn't end up practicing at all, but he's on the sideline. He's taking mental reps. And even if you are not physically out there in any capacity taking reps, being there and taking mental reps is still just as important. So why we're going to say he's absent, I'm not sure. So I don't know if he was there at all today or in any other days at camp, but that's one thing that I noticed about the media that kind of annoyed me, is that even if a player is there under any type of capacity, he should not be listed as absent. But Ty Montgomery absent. Calvin Anderson absent. He was at camp yesterday. He wasn't doing anything physical, but he was in a hoodie taking mental reps. Michael Onwenu absent. Cole Strange, Bill Murray, Jonathan Jones, Matthew Slater, and Cody Davis. Most of these are the same. Bill Murray is an interesting one. He, throughout camp, with Michael Onwenu also being out, has pretty much 90% of the time been the Patriots starting right guard. He's out for some strange reason. Jonathan Jones also out for some strange reason also. Yesterday was believed to have been a veteran day. This is not a veteran day. So I'm not sure if he's dealing with something. The last time we saw John Jones was the in-stadium practice. Didn't hear about him tweaking anything. So why he's out, not sure. Hopefully that doesn't subside to anything serious. And Cole Strange also continues to be out. David Andrews returned today after a veteran day off yesterday. Limited was Trent Brown. So it looks like he's getting more and more into the fold as each day progresses. It was a fully padded practice today. Yesterday was not. The day before, they had a day off. So this was the first padded practice that we saw since the Patriots, I believe, I know, because they didn't even have padded practices in the stadium practice. So we haven't seen them in pads for a few days. So they've had some time off with those. But the Patriots practice field was painted. It had all the lines, all the numbers, essentially trying to replicate an actual game day field. There were even referees there today. This is something you usually see when the Patriots are going up against teams in joint practice, but this is something that we are now at the point in the offseason where, although there's no other team there, they are doing this to try to simulate game day scenarios at a at the most realistic level that they possibly can. Overall, today was also another very good situational day for the team as it was very rainy and it was very rainy all day. Moving on to each position, quarterbacks, Mac Jones in 11 on 11s went 10 for 14. Bailey Zappi was 7 for 14 with an interception. McSorley was 0 for 2. And we saw Malik Cunningham finally moving from wide receiver to quarterback today for his first time in training camp. He was 3 for 6 in 11 on 11s. Mac Jones overall handled today's wet, rainy conditions the best out of all quarterbacks. He didn't do fantastic, but he didn't do bad. He was mid. He did an all right job, as you would expect. A couple of misses due to the rain, but overall a pretty solid day from him, as where Bailey Zappi had very bad accuracy issues all day today. Mac Jones did struggle during today's 2-minute drill, but later on in practice, he did ramp it up a little more. But overall, when it came to those short 2-minute drills, got to have it moments, Mac Jones did struggle a bit. Malik Cunningham, like I said, got those first quarterback reps that we've seen in camp in 11 on 11s, mostly working with the scout team. That was his job as a quarterback today, but was definitely standing out. Not really from a passing perspective, but more so from his ability on the run and just an athletic ability. You can definitely see why they're trying him at wide receiver. Moving on to running backs, not much to be said, only one note, and that's that Pierre Strachan is standing out a little bit, had a filthy juke against Jelani Tavai in these one-on-one tackling drills. That's something they did on day 8, the second day that I was at practice too. And this is a drill that I love. I love these one-on-one matchups because you can take a little bit more away because there's not as much going on. And something that I noticed even when I was there watching Pierre Strachan was just how fast he was, and that guys were having issues tackling him because of how quick, how elusive he was, which definitely translated to some of his juke moves. Moving on to wide receivers, with the rain, some of these guys had a rougher day. Kendrick Bourne, unfortunately, was at the top of that list. He had 3 drops today. 3. That was an issue for KB last year, along with sometimes running the wrong route. He's got to be a lot more crisp if he wants to get into the fold at a regular basis this year. Tyquan Thornton had 2, and Juju Smith-Schuster had 1. Receivers overall had a hard time catching the ball today at a consistent level when it came to one-on-ones. Devontae Parker, though, continuing to be your standout, number 1 wide receiver, had a great rep against DeMarcus Jones in one-on-one. He also later had an awesome 30-yard grab over 7th-round pick Isaiah Bolden along the sidelines, fought through a lot of contact, as he always does. This guy is essentially the reasons the Patriots didn't feel like they needed DeAndre Hopkins. Speaking of Devontae Parker, he also later on beat Jack Jones for a touchdown in 11 on 11s. But unfortunately, Mac Jones overthrew him. So even in a game day scenario, that wouldn't have been a completed pass anyway. Kendrick Bourne, again, very up, very down day, very inconsistent, multiple drops, but he was in the mix with the starters on a regular basis. Tyquan Thornton had a long touchdown catch today against Rodney Randall in one-on-ones. Thornton still not on a regular basis being mixed in with the Patriots starting wide receivers. Demario Douglas seems like he was just Demario Douglas despite the rain. He had a really nice catch versus Marcus Jones today in one-on-ones, and then later on also beat Rodney Randall. I'm excited to see him on Thursday. I think the amount of reps we see from Demario Douglas on Thursday will be very evident to how they feel about him on that 53-man roster. Kayshon Boutte made a great and excellent play of the day, the catch of the day, without a doubt, where he had a one-handed catch on a full extension over his head for a touchdown. Some OBJ Giants one-handed back of the end zone type of a catch. And like I said, was in the end zone for that touchdown. Easily one of the top plays from camp overall. He's a guy that, as these days are stacking up, as we're getting closer to preseason and regular season, he's doing better each and every single day. Now, he, again, struggled early on in OTAs, minicamp, and even the beginning of training camp, so I'm not confident in saying he's going to make the roster, but football's a what have you done for me lately type of sport, so it's better that he's performing now than early on and starting to die out. He's definitely, as long as he can show himself in the preseason, is going to make a case for himself. And then Trey Nixon had a great rep today against Sean Wade in one-on-ones, and then later on also had a pair of wins. Moving on to tight ends, Hunter Henry went undefeated in his one-on-one matchups, continuing to be that number one pass catcher for the Patriots throughout this offseason in general. Scotty Washington had a really good day today, probably really the only day that he stood out. Had a nice dive and catch against Adrian Phillips in one-on-ones, and then later on had another nice grab along the sidelines in 11-on-11s versus Joshua Bledsoe. As I scroll down my list here, moving on to the offensive line, first team offensive line from left to right was Riley Reiff, Antonio Mafi, David Andrews back at center, Cody Russi at right guard, and Connor McDermott at right tackle. This was essentially the exact same thing that we saw yesterday, except David Andrews came back and replaced James Ferentz. Penalties today, Connor McDermott had one. Like I said, Trent Brown still not fully into the mix, but he is getting back more and more each day. Was a lot more in the mix today over at left tackle, but like I said, not fully there. He said that the reason that he's being limited so much in practice is not due to his contract, but unfortunately, and I'm not sure when this happened, but because he's dealing with an injury, they're probably trying to be extra precautious with him. Riley Reiff and Connor McDermott both were standouts today in one-on-ones as they both went 2-0. City Sal working with the third team, going one-on-ones. He went 0 for 3 today. Looks like he's still struggling to make that switch to tackle. Overall, the offensive line continues to struggle. That long list of me talking about the O-line was basically, yeah, they're still struggling. We don't have our starters there. And really, we haven't had our starting offensive line pretty much all offseason to be able to work together. And that's concerning, one, because we already have holes, but two, the continuity is now going to be messed up. They would have allowed 6 sacks today. And unfortunately, that has been a regular case where they're allowing, 4-6 sacks per day. This is a serious issue, and Belichick might need to be at a standpoint where if this team's going to be successful at all, he needs to add an offensive tackle by the end of the offseason. Moving on to the defense, starting with the defensive line, sacks today. Dietrich Dwight had 2, Devon Godchaux had 1, and Christian Barmore had 1, and Lawrence Guy had 1. All these guys showing out, especially on the interior. That is something that doesn't surprise me, though, considering, again, you don't have your 2 starting interior offensive linemen. It's hard to take away from the defensive line because you don't know, are they really performing well? Or is it just the offensive line is seriously that bad? Pass breakups, Anthony Jennings had 1 and Christian Barmore had 1. Barmore also had a dominant rep against Cody Russi today in one-on-ones. And then the rookie second-round pick, Keon White, was 2 for 1 in his one-on-one matchups today. And then Daniel Aquale had a one-on-one win versus Jake Andrews, the rookie. Moving to linebackers, Marte Mapu continues to stand out, continuing to make plays. He had a pass breakup. Over the last week of training camp, he's had several pass breakups. He's had 2 interceptions. He is continuing to stand out. And then Mac Wilson also had a pass breakup today. As for the cornerbacks, Marcus Jones had an interception. Jack Jones had 2 pass breakups. Christian Gonzalez had 1. Marcus Jones also had a pass breakup. Miles Bryant, Sean Wade, Isaiah Bolden, and Quandre Mosley also had pass breakups. So essentially, every defensive back that was there had a pass breakup. Christian Gonzalez also was all over Tyquan Thornton today on a one-on-one rep. The fact that Christian Gonzalez is able to roll with guys from a height advantage and able to roll with guys from a speed advantage, like Tyquan Thornton, who ran a 4.3 speed, or actually I think he ran a 4.2 speed, absolutely absurd. As long as he can learn from his mistakes and from a mechanical standpoint, he's going to be a lockdown cornerback without a doubt within the next 2-3 years max. Moving on to safeties, Jabril Peppers and Jalen Mills had pass breakups. And then to end today's video off with special teams, Nick Folk went 5 for 6 today on his field goals, including hitting what we would never expect, a 50-yarder, but unfortunately that one miss was from 47 yards. So some weird inconsistencies there for Folk, and then didn't hear any news today on Ryland. Kick returners today were Demario Douglas, Marcus Jones, Isaiah Bolden, and Kyle Duggar. I love the ability of getting guys like Kyle Duggar, Demario Douglas, and Isaiah Bolden in the mix. I'm really, really, really hoping that we see guys like Demario Douglas and Isaiah Bolden being the main kick returners for our 3 preseason games, because I think those are the guys who, if they can stand out, easily make the roster. More so Isaiah Bolden, because I think Douglas has made the roster at this point. But I think both of those guys have a lot of experience returning kicks. And that is one area of the field that's kind of still a battle that nobody's won over yet. So what are your guys' thoughts on day 11 from training camp? Let me know in the comment section below. Remember to leave a big like on this video and subscribe to the channel for all of your New England Patriots news. Like always, I appreciate you guys for watching. And never forget, go Pats, baby.